Silo Season 3 has spent its opening episodes convincing us that Juliette Nichols is trapped inside the worst kind of prison. Her prison is her own mind. She knows something is wrong, she knows people are lying to her, and she can feel pieces of her past trying to break through. But every time she reaches for the truth, it slips away again. Episode 4 finally turns that confusion into something far more dangerous. Juliet does not just survive another attempt to silence her, she discovers that one of the most important men in Silo 18 is still alive. Bernard Holland, the former mayor everyone believed was dead, is hidden deep beneath the silo, and his survival could be the one thing that finally brings Juliet's memories back. And if you're obsessed with uncovering the secrets of the silos, breaking down every hidden clue, and exploring new theories after each episode, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and leave your own theory in the comments. I make these videos all by myself, so your support genuinely means a lot. And most importantly, subscribe if you would never volunteer to go outside and clean. Yeah, I didn't think so. Before we discuss why Bernard may still be alive and what his return means, here is a quick recap of the situation. Juliet has gradually realized that her memory loss was not caused only by trauma. She has been taking pills designed to suppress crucial memories. After discovering that someone has deliberately been interfering with her mind, Juliet begins searching for answers. She reconnects with people from her past, follows the few clues she can trust, and eventually makes her way into the lower levels of Silo 18. Her journey leads her back to a place connected to George Wilkins, the man whose death originally pushed her toward the truth. There, at the end of episode 4, Juliet finds a badly weakened man lying on a bed. At first, he's difficult to recognize, but when we look closer, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Bernard is alive. And that reveal changes almost everything. The episode works because Juliet's real struggle is not simply about remembering information. It is about learning whether she can trust her own instincts again. Since the beginning of Season 3, she has been surrounded by people telling her who she is, what happened to her, and what she should believe. Even her own reflection feels unfamiliar. When Juliet looks into a mirror and struggles to recognize her face, the show makes it clear that something deeper than ordinary memory loss is happening. That is especially disturbing because Juliet has always been one of the most grounded characters in Silo. She understands machines because machines reveal their problems. A generator shakes, a pipe leaks, a bearing fails. Juliet can examine the evidence and work out what is wrong. But memory is different. A memory can be removed without leaving a broken part behind. It can be buried, disconnected, or replaced while the person continues functioning normally. That makes the memory-suppressing pills one of the most effective weapons anyone could use against Juliet. The pills do not need to erase her entire personality. They only need to disconnect her from the experiences that made her dangerous. She can still walk through the silo, repair machinery, and recognize some familiar faces, but the knowledge that could threaten the system has been buried. The people controlling Silo 18 do not necessarily need to kill Juliet if they can transform her into someone who no longer remembers why she was fighting. Episode 4 shows that this plan is beginning to fail. Juliet has always been difficult to control because even when she doesn't know the full truth, she notices when something doesn't fit. The explanation for her memory loss feels incomplete. The people around her behave as though they are hiding something. Her flashes of recognition are too specific to dismiss as random confusion. Once she understands that she is being drugged, the story she has been given begins to collapse. Juliet is no longer waiting for her memory to return naturally. She is actively investigating what was done to her. The system is not only worried about what she knows right now, it's worried about what she might eventually remember. Then the episode takes her back to George. George represents the beginning of Juliet's awakening. His death forced her to question the official explanations inside Silo 18. His investigation into the hard drive, the hidden door, and the lies protected by Judicial pulled Juliet into a much larger mystery. Returning to a place connected to George is therefore more than a nostalgic moment. It brings Juliet back to the origin of her rebellion. The lower levels also become a physical representation of Juliet's buried mind. The deeper she travels into the silo, the closer she gets to the memories other people tried to hide from her. The truth is not waiting in the bright, heavily controlled public areas. It is hidden below, in forgotten places where George once searched for answers. And waiting at the end of that journey is Bernard. The reveal is shocking because Season 3 had already presented Bernard's death as an established fact. Through a flashback, we were led to believe that Robert Sims killed him after he was rescued from the decontamination chamber. The story even suggested that Bernard's body was burned, so there would be no evidence of his continued existence. Juliet was made to believe that Bernard died from the burns and injuries he suffered following the events at the end of Season 2. Everything about that explanation was designed to close the door permanently. Episode 4 opens it again. Bernard is clearly not in good condition when Juliet finds him. He's lying on a bed, hidden away from the rest of the silo, and he appears extremely weak. His survival does not necessarily mean he's recovering. He may still be dying. But that possibility only makes his return more urgent. Bernard does not need to survive for the entire season to transform Juliet's story. He only needs enough time to tell her what happened. The biggest question, of course, is how Bernard survived. The most likely explanation is Robert Sims. Sims spent years serving Bernard. Their relationship was built on loyalty, fear, ambition, and a shared understanding of how power operates inside Silo 18. Sims has committed terrible acts in the name of maintaining order, but cracks have gradually appeared in his loyalty to the system. His relationship with Camille has become more complicated. He started questioning some of her decisions, and he increasingly seems to understand that the people controlling the silo may consider him disposable. That makes the idea of Sims faking Bernard's death believable. Killing Bernard would have removed one of the few people who understood the full danger facing Silo 18. Sims may have realized that Bernard was no longer simply a former mayor or political rival. He was a valuable source of information. If the safeguard procedure is capable of wiping out everyone in the silo, keeping Bernard alive may have been an act of self-preservation. Bernard possesses knowledge that could protect Sims, Camille, and their son if the situation becomes uncontrollable. There may also be a more personal reason. Sims served Bernard for years. Even after their relationship deteriorated, killing him directly may have been harder than Sims expected. By faking Bernard's death, Sims could satisfy the people who wanted the former mayor removed, while secretly preserving him as a final source of intelligence. Altering records, burning another body, and hiding Bernard in the lower levels would be difficult, but Sims has the authority and connections to make such a deception possible. However, there is another explanation that may be even more interesting. Bernard might have planned his own death. Bernard understands the systems controlling the silo better than almost anyone. He knows that the algorithm watches behavior, predicts possible threats, and controls people through information. If Bernard realized that he could no longer move openly without being detected, disappearing may have been his only option. A convincing public death would remove him from the algorithm's calculations. Everyone would stop looking for him. Camille would believe the threat had been eliminated, and the silo would move forward without considering Bernard part of the equation. From that hidden position, Bernard could wait for Juliet. This might explain why he's being kept in an area connected to George and the lower levels. Bernard may have predicted that Juliet's instincts would eventually bring her there. Once her memories began returning, she would search for something familiar, especially something connected to the investigation that changed her life. If Bernard helped arrange this, then he did not merely survive an execution. He turned his apparent death into a way of disappearing beneath the system. And this brings us to what his survival means for Juliet. Bernard may be the only person capable of reconnecting the missing pieces inside her mind. Juliet, Bernard, and Lucas Kyle are among the few people in Silo 18 who understand the truth about the safeguard procedure. But Bernard has one important advantage over Lucas. He saw Juliet immediately after she returned from outside. He knows what she said, what she discovered, and what she intended to do next. Most importantly, Bernard may know that Juliet discovered a possible way to save everyone. That is likely the real reason her memories were suppressed. Juliet did not simply return with frightening stories about Silo 17 and the world outside. She returned with knowledge that could threaten the safeguard itself. If she remembers what she learned, how the procedure works, and how it might be stopped, she becomes the greatest threat to the people controlling Silo 18. Bernard can help unlock that knowledge. He can remind Juliet about the conversations they had after her return. He can repeat the warnings she gave him and explain the plan she may have been trying to create. Those details could act as keys, reconnecting memories that have been isolated by the drugs. Juliet is already off the pills, and fragments of her past are beginning to return. Bernard's words may finally give those fragments structure. He may not even need to explain everything. Memory often returns through association. A name, a place, an object, or a familiar sentence can reconnect experiences that seemed completely lost. Bernard may only need to mention Solo, Silo 17, the flooded levels, the hidden door, or the safeguard for Juliet's mind to begin reconstructing what happened. That is why Episode 4 could mark the beginning of the end of Juliet's amnesia storyline. The show has already taken her through confusion, suspicion, and resistance. Keeping Juliet without her memories for too long would eventually prevent the larger story from moving forward. Bernard's return gives the series a believable way to restore her knowledge while still making the process emotional and gradual. It also changes Juliet's mission. Until now, she has been searching for herself. After speaking to Bernard, she may once again be searching for a way to save Silo 18. That mission will place her directly against Camille, the algorithm, and possibly Robert Sims, depending on the real part he played in Bernard's survival. If Sims saved Bernard, then he may be secretly trying to help Juliet. If Bernard survived without Sims knowing, then Sims could soon be hunting both of them. And if Bernard arranged his own disappearance, we may discover that he has been preparing one final move since the end of Season 2. There is also a darker possibility Juliet cannot ignore. Bernard may know the truth, but that does not automatically make him trustworthy. He spent years protecting the system. He controlled information, manipulated Juliet, and accepted terrible sacrifices in the name of maintaining order. His survival does not suddenly transform him into a hero. Bernard may genuinely want to stop the safeguard and save the people of Silo 18, but his methods could still involve secrecy, manipulation, and control. That creates an extremely interesting tension between them. Juliet needs Bernard, but she has every reason to hate him. He may be the person who can restore her memories, yet he is also one of the people responsible for the lies that destroyed so many lives. Their alliance, if it happens, will not be based on forgiveness. It will be based on necessity. And that is what makes Bernard's return such a strong reveal. It is not merely a surprise created to shock the audience. It brings the central conflicts of Silo together. Memory, power, survival, secrecy, and trust are now sitting inside one hidden room beneath Silo 18. Juliet went down there looking for answers about who she used to be. Instead, she found the man who may remember what she was trying to become. If Bernard can help her recover the truth about Silo 17 and the safeguard, Juliet will no longer be running from the people trying to erase her past. She will be fighting to prevent them from erasing everyone's future. After Episode 4, the most important question is no longer whether Juliet will remember. It is whether she will remember in time.